Hi, folks. Happy to announce we finally fused together our two ATRQs so you can have the best of both worlds from CashCalc and analytics. Historically, up until yesterday, whenever you want to use our ATRQ, you can either really only just use it in analytics or CashCalc, not both. The one in analytics lives under here, it's the investment planner, and that automatically links to your centralized investment proposition or retirement proposition. And equally, it gives you the full force of the reporting that analytics can deliver from a solution basis. And the one in CashCalc is the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's delivered in the portal. So it gives you a slightly more elegant way for the client to complete it. But equally, it's synced to your cash flow. So you can take the results you're getting from the ATR and then push that into the cash flow. And as I said, up until yesterday, you could only really use one or the other. But finally, because we've tethered them together, you've now got the best of both worlds. And this is a very slick end-to-end ATRQ process that actually is fully cyclical because it kind of starts in the portal and ends in the portal. So let me show you what this looks like. So in CashCalc, I'm under Keith and Barbara Baker, my client. These are all their client pages. I can click on the ATRQ tab, and now I can send a questionnaire to one of them or both of them. I'm just going to send it to Keith in this respect. So I click on Keith. I want it to include the capacity, philosophy, knowledge, and experience questions. So I'm going to send that request to Keith. And that will send across to him. What Keith ends up receiving is something a little like this. It will be an email with my branding, my company branding, and my color scheme, and he can then just click on Login Secure Portal, and that will take him directly to the portal login, where he can now log in. And as if by magic, one of the first things he should be requested to do is the ATRQ. Equally, because I've asked him to complete a fact find and an AML check, that's there as well. I could also get him to complete the ESG questionnaire and also send documents to him to complete. But at the moment, these are the three things he needs to focus on. So let's look at the ATRQ. He can start completing this. I'm just going to rattle through this very quickly. I'm just going to pick the middle answer for each one. There are basically 14 questions, 13 risk-based questions, and the very final one, you'll see this in a minute, is the investment term, and that will determine the final result. So let's just say he's a medium-term investor, and the additional questions. So yes, I'm going to complete some of these. Just going to put some gibberish in here so you can see how that pulls through into analytics. No for that one. Yes for this one. Let's just put no for the last two. So that's knowledge and experience, capacity, philosophy sorted. And then we can finish. The client can review the answers and the information he's given. And I can click on submit. And that will provide client with the results. But then that sends it back to the advisor. So I'm the client. I can now log out the portal and close that down. If I come back and pretend I'm the advisor, put my advisor hat back on. If I click on the ATRQ tab, you can see as if by magic that now comes through. It's ready for my advisor to review it. So I can review the completed ATRQ. And at this stage, I may want to have a conversation with the client because obviously the ATRQ can't be completely automated as part of the FCA guidelines. You have to have a conversation with the client to make sure they're comfortable with these results and they're comfortable with what's being proposed. But this is all now available for the advisor to review, including the capacity, philosophy, knowledge, and experience questions. And it's really up to the advisor then to dictate whether they're happy with the results. Just because the computer said risk profile 3 is suitable doesn't mean the advisor has to agree with that after they've had the conversation with the client. But I'm going to assume, yes, that's fine for all of these reasons, and then save and proceed. And that now locks it in. And from here, I can then push that into a cash flow and show my client what a 3 out of 5 looks like on a 20, 30, 40-year basis, etc. However, now because the integration with analytics, I can push that through to the investment planner. And now I've got the full force of the reporting and what investment solutions to pick from. Because at this stage, I'm struggling a bit because I know the client's 3 out of 5, and I've got my centralized investment process over here that includes all these model portfolios and multi-asset funds that I like using. But I don't know which one to use. I don't know which one is a 3, a 4, a 5, etc. So that's where this integration comes in incredibly handy. So if I come back to the ATRQ tab at the top, this is the one that I've just reviewed and signed off. If I hover over actions, I suddenly get an export to analytics option. And if I click on it, the very first time you do this, it will ask you for what client you want to sync to. So it will show you all the clients you have on analytics, and you just pick the one you want, and then it's tethered forever. So every single time I push an ATRQ back to analytics, it knows what client to send this across. So I'm just going to call this my new proposal and export. Awesome. And the results have successfully been exported to analytics. So I can click on go to analytics and it loads up the investment planner. but it loads up essentially where we are with the client. It's pulled across all of the ATRQ Q&As, the extra information around capacity for loss, knowledge, and experience, and now it gives me the results. And from the investment planner, there's a couple of nice little extras I've got. I've got a possibility of losses document that explains what it means to be a 3 out of 5. So this is actually quite useful for my capacity for loss discussions with the client, and I'd certainly want that in the final report to basically explain to the client that this is what a 3 out of 5 actually means. There's the description, there's the risk profile, there's the highs and lows you'd have experienced, and this is the inherent level of loss inherent within a risk profile 3 solution that we're just about to sign off on. So that will be added to the final report. We'll look at that in a second. But the most important part of the investment planner is it will show you your centralized investment proposition. Now, obviously, this will change dependent on the advisor. And it will now signpost the ones that are suitable for that risk profile. As they load here, you can see the FE risk score of each one of the propositions that I regularly use with my clients. And on the right hand side, you've got the indicative risk score. So the system's basically saying, look, this is the risk of every single one of the solutions within your centralized investment panel. Your clients just come out as a 3 out of 5. And we're suggesting that any one of your solutions that has an FE risk score between 65 and 75 is suitable for that level of risk. So it basically signposts which one's a risk profile 3. Now, again, this will be very different dependent on the advisor, but me in my imaginary advisor world, I use the Vanguard Life Strategy solutions, and I've also got maybe an MPS solution that I use as well, and maybe a bespoke solution here or there. So these are the solutions that I use on a regular basis. I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, well, for whatever reason, I've decided the Vanguard Life Strat 60 is suitable for my client. I can compare those against the others very quickly. This is a bit of a research page, but I can then confirm the selection, and then it takes me to a couple of kind of filler pages where I just need to confirm what I've selected, and it will give me some stats and information on how that solution has performed against its benchmark. But the final part to this is a nice little report builder where I can start building out a report and then essentially send that back to CashCalc. So if I just click on the report center, you'll get this page with lots of tick boxes. Now, each one of these tick boxes represents a part of the report. So I'm just designing it now on the fly. And you can open up these very quickly to have a look at them before you decide to include them within the report. But invariably, I'm probably going to want a cover page. I want the ATRQ Q&A and also the capacity for loss questions coming through that we did on CashCalc. I want the possibility to losses report that explains the level of loss inherent within a risk profile 3. You'll notice these are grayed out. I can't pick those because this isn't a switch. I'm not suggesting they move from A to B. This is just a brand new investment going into Vanguard Life Strat. I'm going to come back to that though and show you how this process slightly alters when it is a comparison. So I've got these couple of portfolio reports I can load up, either a summary or a detailed. We'll just stick with the summary. And because this is a fund-based solution I'm offering, I might want to include all the fund fact sheets and kids documents and a signature page. And when I click on generate, as I said, they're mini reports, a good way of looking at them. So it will generate all those mini reports, bind them together into one PDF, showing me that journey that client's just been on. And if we load that up, you've got the cover page as I requested with my logo. You've got the Q&A that we had on the CashCalc side pulled across for me. Then you've got the results, the 3 out of 5. Then we've got all of the capacity for loss, knowledge and experience questions and answers, the gibberish I put in a few minutes ago, that's been pulled across as well with the additional advisor notes we put in CashCalc. Then a bit for the client to sign it and date it if you need. That's why the questionnaire, whether you're doing this on CashCalc or analytics side, is conforms to the FCA good practice recommendations for risk profiling. There's my page to summarize what a risk profile 3 is. And the nice little kind of summary report I wanted included just basically says, look, we've selected the Vanguard Life Strategy 60 solution. Why was that? Well, because it's a risk profile 3 solution. Your risk profile's just come out as a 3. We've agreed to that. This solution is also a risk profile 3, so it sits neatly with where you need to be investing. But let's have a look at some of the other things against the benchmark: drawdown figures, volatility figures, charging figures, the performance of the portfolio versus benchmark, asset allocation, etc. And there's the solution I'm recommending, or solutions if your portfolio is more than just one fund. And again, because I've asked for it, I've got the fact sheet and I've got the kids document underneath as well. And again, just purely because I asked for it, I've got the signature page. So if I did want them to sign and date it with a pen, I've got that at the very end as well. Now, where this slightly differs is if the client's got an existing solution that you want to compare. And really, the difference with this would be on this page, where it's not just showing you where the proposed portfolio is, it's also showing you where the client's existing portfolio is as well. So that's slightly different process. If I come back to, we just close down the investment planner, come back to CashCalc. If I go and throw this again into analytics and call this, let's call this proposed plan 2024, something a little different. And once that pushes it across to analytics, if I open it up, it's going to take me to essentially the same page I landed on last time. But if I click on the clients tab at the very top here, rather than continuing on that screen, I can have a look at all of the clients that currently sit on the investment planner. Keith Baker's one I was obviously looking at a second ago. These are all the plans that I've pulled across. And if I look at the one I've just pushed across that I haven't completed yet, I've got edit plan next to it. And if I click on that, it allows me this extra little tab here to basically attach a current portfolio to this ATRQ. And this is going to load up all of the analytics portfolios that I have on the system and allow me to tether them. So I can click on change. This will load up my portfolios. And for this case, I have actually got a portfolio in here called Keith Baker Pension. And I'm going to find that and link it across. And you can simply find it just by typing in Keith Baker, and there he is. It's a pension, and this could be a pension that I've built myself on analytics manually, or because it integrates with the likes of IO, Xplan, Curo. This could be an existing portfolio that you've pulled into analytics. You can now attach it to the ATRQ, and I can save it. And once that's tethered or linked, and the plan is saved, if I now click on Continue Plan, I won't go through the full plan again because I'm sure you get the picture, but I can go back to where I started. And now if I look at my suitable portfolios, I'll get that extra little page appear that allows me to do a switch report. And what that looks like, if I show you one that I've created already, if I scroll down, it will be exactly the same as what I pulled across. But that little page that showed me where the current the proposed solution sits, it now shows me where the existing solution sits as well. So it's a really nice little switch report that just basically says, well, look, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're proposing Vanguard LifeStrat 60 because it's a 3 out of 5. It's worth knowing that your current solution that you've got on X, Y, and Z platform is currently sitting at a 2 out of 5. But these are, again, all the reasons why I want you to switch, not just because of the risk profile, but the charges, the performance, the volatility, the asset allocation between the two. And they're all the reasons why I think you should be selling these solutions that you have and simply investing in my Vanguard solution or my MPS solution, etc. And again, the fact sheet and KID document. And as I said, this is full circle. So now I've got that. I want to send that back to the portal to get the client to complete it. Let's just get rid of this. Let's just close this down. Don't want to save any changes. And if we come back to the portal, the CashCalc account for my advisor, I can click on the Documents tab. I can send a new document. This is new ATRQ. Can put a little bit of a description in there. I want the client to agree to it. I want them to accept it, so I know they have actually read it. And if I click on Choose File, we scroll down, there we go. I can attach that ATRQ and solution proposal and then send that across. We give that a second. If I now come back into my portal, again, I'll just take off my advisor hat and pretend to be my client. I'm going back into the portal. If I come down to my documents, also a dashboard, it was there, wasn't it? There we go. There's my new ATRQ document. If I just view that, it's exactly what we just saw a second ago on the advisor side. I won't need to take you through all of this. And then at the end, I can simply, as the client, say, yes, I confirm that I've read and understood the document and I accept agreement. And that will essentially now be time stamped from the advisor side. So I'm sorry to keep going back and forth, but if we now come back into the advisor side and refresh, I've got my new ATRQ, it's been agreed to. And if I view it, again, it's going to be exactly the same document. So there we go. That's from the advisor side. Or the client side, I can view the same document. So that's how this ATRQ process now works. I've got a very sophisticated ATRQ modeler in CashCalc. I've equally got the same ATRQ in analytics. And as I said, up until very recently this week, they didn't really link together. So there was a bit of a disconnect, but now they link together and they can move data back and forth. It creates an incredibly elegant end-to-end process where you start off in the portal, get the client to fill in the ATR, zip that across to analytics, did all of the research and tethering it to the right solution, and then send that information back to the client via the portal. So I hope you found that useful. Any questions as ever, on the left-hand side in analytics, there's a similar button in CashCalc. Click on Contact Us, contact the help desk for any further support. Thank you for watching.